The weekend has come to an end, and now we move into a week where it's the last week before Labor Day. Next weekend is the Labor Day holiday weekend. So it's a big vacation week. And somehow this year it's been decided that autumn is going to make an early appearance. And we actually have a long duration of below normal temperatures ahead of us. We're going to talk about that and take a look at what's going on in the tropics and so much more. And that is tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support if you shop on Amazon. Just use our referral link that is pinned to the top of the chat board. I believe that's the one. Yes, it's pinned to the top of the chat board. All you got to do is use that link to get you to Amazon. You do your shopping, and Amazon gives us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. And it doesn't cost you a penny out of your own pocket. It's an easy, simple way so that we can keep the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast free from commercial interruption. At least the live stream is free from commercial interruption. So do consider doing your Amazon shopping via the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast Amazon link. And if you need a weather station, look no further than Tempest by WeatherFlow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is on the description to this podcast on YouTube, right underneath the podcast title. Use the coupon code SUMMER 2025. And if you do, you will get
10% off, Joe. 10 big percent.
So I don't know about you, but starting tonight and every night this week and probably this coming weekend, I am going to put together my first string of 50 lows in the 50s, which I am really looking forward to. And actually, much of the end of this week and this weekend here barely got above 80 degrees. It's been actually relatively comfortable. So I am looking forward to this in a big way.
Well, I think we do indeed. I agree with you. We do have a period coming up of rather coolish temperatures for this time of the year, and it will feel rather autumnal as we move toward the unofficial end of the summer season this upcoming weekend. Earliest, just about as early, well, it is. It's the earliest that Labor Day can come. It's the first Monday of the month of September, and this year that first Monday is September the 1st, which also happens to be Mr. and Mrs. Rayo's 41st wedding anniversary. So we will be enjoying, I think, a spell of really nice weather. Now, we do have a weather front, Joe, and I know you're going to talk about this in a moment, but front is going to be coming on through probably by early afternoon tomorrow, and it could, out ahead of it, we've got through this entire day with no precipitation. We may very well get through the entire night without any precip, but when we get to tomorrow morning, say around 8, 9, 10 o'clock, we may see a few showers and possibly a rumble of thunder with the front passing on by, and then once it passes by, we go into that dry, cool airflow for probably a good part of the upcoming week.
Yeah, I was looking at the dew points, which tomorrow morning are going to be in the upper 60s, and by late tomorrow afternoon, they're down in the low and mid 50s for eastern PA to southern New England.
Yes, we turned on the air conditioning this afternoon for the only reason that it felt a little warm and ever so slightly more humid. But I think it's going to be getting turned off again tomorrow because once that front moves through and that cooler air arrives, it's going to be that way right on through much, if not all, of this upcoming week. Now, you mentioned, Joe, or you will, I'm sure, mention when we show the Storm Prediction Center charts that there's a band of marginal convection, marginal severe, north and west of the immediate tri-state. But the tri-state area itself, at least through 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, is outside of the general coverage area for thunderstorms. So
Yeah.
that's why I say we may go through the night tonight without seeing a single drop.
Yeah, well, one of the problems today and for tonight is the fact that, yeah, you got a front to the west, and yes, the dew points have come up, but you've got this front has slowed down almost to a crawl because it's waiting for a low to form just offshore, because there's been rain on the radar well offshore all day long, but it's waiting for that wave to go by. And once that wave goes by, the front can swing on through. And the other thing that's holding it up is that you've got a tropical storm out along 60 degrees west for Nand. That's not going to do anything. It's just going to go on its merry way to the north and then northeast. But it's created a bit of a logjam because otherwise that front would have come through today. Then, weren't for those other two factors, you probably would be having some thunderstorms running around. And the other thing is, once this front goes by, it really does look. There's one little thing to just kind of keep a watch on, I think, for Labor Day weekend, where the old frontal boundary is going to be out there, and you're probably going to get some type of wave that might try to develop on it. The best likelihood is that it's going to wind up staying offshore and not be an issue. But I think it's something we're probably going to have to take a look at. But it could very well be rain free for the next 10 days.
I would agree with you. I think we're going to be into a nice long stretch of dry weather, and again, near to below normal temperatures. The only chance it looks like we'll have for any kind of significant shower activity is going to come tomorrow with the approach and passage of this cold front. After that, we're pretty well home free with dry weather for quite some time to come.
Yeah. Welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board. Hope you had a great weekend. And those of you who are watching in the background tonight, lurking about, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays are off days unless there's a storm around. So mark it all down. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss us or you don't miss any changes in the schedule. And if you like the show, what should they do if they like the show, Joe? Besides write
They
a
should
check.
hit that. They should hit that like button,
Yes. It's cheaper to
and
hit the like button than it is to
that
write
would
a
be
check.
nice.
Yes,
That would
it
be
would.
nice.
All right, let's take a
Tom
look at
Contino wants to know. Tom Contino wants to know how concerned am I for the Labor Day weekend? Right now, I have no concerns whatsoever.
yeah, I
Uh,
just mentioned my, little asterisk there. But Tom never, he never asks me. He always wants to know what you think. Did you
I
notice that?
well, I think that Tom Contino usually likes to show my or talk about my forecast and point them out, saying, "Well, this is what he's going for." Yeah.
Oh, everybody is forecast shopping instead of shopping on our referral link on Amazon that's pinned to the top of the chat board. Sorry, I had to get that shameless self promotion in, but nonetheless. All right, let's get going here. And with the way the weather's going to
I
be,
mean, I mean, there's all right. If you want to really break it all down, you know, next weekend, Saturday, there's a cold front that is forecast to move through. But I mean, the front probably is going to lack so much in terms of significant moisture. We
yeah,
might get a few clouds with it, but that's it. And then there's a big high pressure system
right.
behind it building in for the rest of Saturday, Sunday, and Labor Day Monday.
Yeah, again, my only concern is that, and right now it's a minor one, that there's probably going to be some kind of wave that's going to develop on that front. And as long as it stays offshore, there should not be any issues. But of course, we'll be revisiting that as we go into this coming week. And in the meantime, I should like to point out, Timothy Veltman let me know about this. There are 4 counties, Joe, count them, 4 in northeastern Minnesota that have frost advisories up.
Ah,
The first ones of the season.
and there you go.
There you go. Yes, no frost advisories in the north. It's still not, you know, we're way ahead of the calendar here, folks. And in fact, when you look at how I'll show it on the maps later. The really big anomalies in terms of the below normal temperatures are going to be in the Ohio and Tennessee Valley and in parts of the deep South. I mean, this is going to be. I mean, it is going to be below normal along the East Coast, but maybe only maybe a few degrees below normal, or maybe more than a few degrees. But the big anomalies, like the -10 or more anomalies, those are going to be more to the west and more to the south. So I know the folks across the deep south are going to be celebrating they always celebrate the arrival of the first cold front of the season, and there it is. We don't really have a whole lot going on. There are some flood watches in south central Kansas. There's some flood watches in northeast New Mexico into south central Colorado, and we have one small box of severe thunderstorm watches. A small box that the Storm Prediction Center has issued for east central Colorado and even parts of southeast Colorado. Ridge in the west, trough in the east means the weather is hot in the west, and we have various excessive heat warnings and heat advisories and red flag warnings and all the rest of it. And that's all out along the west coast. And when we look at the satellite loop, there's not a lot. I mean, there are some lightning strikes going on in parts of central and north central New York, and that's where there's been a stick of showers that have been out there most of today. And they haven't made hardly any eastward progress. There are also a few lightning strikes with some stuff that's on the radar down into western Maryland and into western Virginia. And you can see them there, just a couple of isolated cells as you extend down into North Carolina. And that's about it. In the Gulf states, it's just a couple of scattered cells in along the Florida Panhandle and in parts of South Florida. You have more numerous thunderstorms out in the west as you get that monsoonal flow coming up from Mexico, and then it's all rotating around the big upper high, because you can see they're moving in a clockwise direction from Nevada east across Utah, and then they go southeast and then south from there. But the other thing to point out, and I think this is a really big question in my mind, you can see the shortwave here. Let me just point it out. We're going to right up here, moving through the Great Lakes. That's the push. That's the real push of cool air that's coming southeastward. The weather front is out to the west, and then we've got this little wave that's off the North Carolina coast, and that's sliding to the east. As I said, you got to wait for the wave to get out of the way. And on the far right, you can see the western part of Tropical Storm Fernand as it kind of mulls its way north, and it's well west of well east of Bermuda, so it's not going to be any problem for them. But I guess the big question in my mind, Joe, is northwest flow out of Canada. Are we going to have wildfire smoke to deal with?
I haven't looked at the smoke forecast. I do have that one product that I occasionally look at that shows or projects where the smoke will be. I can take a look at it, and I
Yeah,
will gladly share it with everybody as soon as I bring it
sure,
up.
if you'd like to share it, by all means, please do.
Unfortunately, it only goes out 3 days, so it would take us right up until, I guess, Wednesday. I just first have to look for it and find it, and once I do find it, activate it, and then I will bring it up. And let's see. I'm gonna move it very quickly to see if there's anything. Well, I tell you what, Joe. I just looked at it all the way through 5 p.m. on the 25th,
And there's
and
nothing.
and there's nothing.
Okay.
Wait, excuse me, at 5 p.m. on. Come on, where am I? What am I looking here for? Da, 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 da. 26th, 5 a.m. That's Tuesday at 5 a.m. There is nothing. There really is
Okay.
nothing. So I could show it to you if you still want to see it.
No, if
But
there's nothing, there's nothing.
yeah,
We get the message. So that'll be, I mean, there's nothing anywhere, right?
I mean there's some spotty smoke up in again the origin, northwestern, Canada. But I mean even up there, and we pointed out that there was a time a few weeks ago where there was something like I don't know 100 and some odd fires going on, and the smoke was billowing out and it was thick. But that has been knocked down now to just a few. So
All
no,
right.
the smoke is not going to be of any concern. I will tell you this, Joe. I
Yes.
posted it on my Facebook page on Friday. I thought Friday, this past Friday, the 22nd of August, was not just the pick of the week, it was the pick of the year. I
Yes, I
mean,
I did read that.
80 degrees, give or take a degree or two. Dew point 50, give or take a degree or two. Blue skies, bluest skies I've seen in a long time. But moreover, I kept looking all through the course of the day. There wasn't a single rag of cloud or even little thin cloud. There was nothing. It was a perfectly clear. And I said on the post that we may be thinking August 22nd uh, will be the best day of the year in terms of weather. It didn't. It doesn't get any better than than what we had on Friday.
Good. All right. Let's check the radars out and see what's going on because the radars aren't all that particularly active. And as I mentioned, you've got some storms up there in central New York going northeast, south of Syracuse and north of Binghamton. One severe thunderstorm warning box to the west of Binghamton. And then up I-81 south of Syracuse, we've got one box with a flash flood warning. Some other cells up in north central New York. See those there. Those are moving to the northeast. And then there's another stick of showers and a couple of storms in Virginia. Now it's more into north central and central Virginia. And then the tail end of that is in central North Carolina and western South Carolina. But there's just maybe one or two cells in there that are causing any issues. And you can see in Florida, there's some scattered showers. You've got some showers and a few storms in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, and also on the Florida Panhandle. Around the Great Lakes, we're seeing some bands of showers and a few thunderstorms crossing out of Michigan and into the Canada side toward Toronto, and also an area of rain north of the Upper Peninsula in the cooler air, and some storms in the Lower Peninsula and out in parts of Lake Michigan. And it's pretty busy out in the west, particularly in Colorado. We've got quite a few storms up and down I-25, which has really become a regular thing for the whole summer. Some storms also in Oklahoma. You can see them there with a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. In Arizona, we've got two small counties that have one a flash flood, the other one has a severe thunderstorm warning that just came and went. A few flash flood warnings up in northern New Mexico, some showers and storms in Nevada and in northeastern California, as well as eastern Oregon and southern Idaho. Storm Prediction Center has that marginal risk for that area in New York State down to central Pennsylvania, but most of it now is just in the New York State zone. The area along the coast, you'll notice through tomorrow morning, has no thunderstorms being forecast. And then we have a marginal to slight risk in eastern Colorado and western Kansas, and just touching the Oklahoma Panhandle. And there's that blue box indicating a severe thunderstorm watch that's up in southeast Colorado. And check out the 7-day rainfall totals because there's next to nothing. Now, what you're seeing up in upstate New York and up the St. Lawrence River Valley, a lot of that's front end loaded. So when we see these maps tomorrow, I'm sure they're going to show far less. But certainly for the coastal plain and down into Virginia and North Carolina, some areas from the Hudson Valley and Long Island and southwest Connecticut all the way down into northern North Carolina, not a drop of rain for the next 7 days. And even further south, it's only for the most part a tenth to a quarter of an inch or maybe a little bit more. A little heavier precip in Florida. We have maybe up to several inches in eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas, extending back with some areas of up to a couple of inches in eastern Colorado and northeastern New Mexico, 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half up in the northern Rockies. So there you have it. So just gonna just run the model guidance here, and here's again, there's that wave that's off North Carolina, and it lifts up to the northeast. By tomorrow afternoon, it's southeast of Cape Cod, and at that point, you're going to get this rush of drier air that's going to come down, and then here comes the big zone of high pressure that it's taking its time. The high actually drops down into Missouri, so the cool, dry air gets to push all the way south, and then there's a reinforcement that comes down on Thursday. You can see there's an east-west front that runs from the St. Lawrence River southeast to just north of Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. And then as that front drops southward, all that precip dries up, but it basically reinforces the cool, dry air for the end of the week. And going into next weekend, unless there's some kind of wave that develops on the old frontal boundary, it's really going to be dry. And I mean, no worse than normal as far as temperatures are concerned. The GFS doesn't really show very much through Labor Day. It's after that that it brings up a wave up the East Coast for the middle part of next week, and the European kind of did the same. Uh, excuse me. The European, by the way, has a wave on that front. It's a little faster. It's actually going to probably be a couple of these that are going to form. And the European, the new European and the old ensembles were kind of showing this. This is for Friday, where it's got a low there east of North Carolina, but that lifts up to the northeast and goes away. And again, unless there's a complication from that, I'm not anticipating any problems. And then as we go through the middle part of next week, I'm up to Wednesday now. It's nothing but high pressure and is another reinforcing surge of cool air. So we're going to be below normal here, certainly through the middle part of next week, and maybe even a little bit beyond that in terms of temperatures and also in terms of precip. I mean, you look at these maps, there's not a whole lot of precip anywhere.
Yeah, and again, the only real chance of seeing any precipitation, I think, here is tomorrow with the first of the two fronts that'll be passing. Well, actually, three fronts that'll be passing by this week. None of these fronts really has a whole heck of a lot of moisture associated with them. This, in fact, the one that's coming through tomorrow, is perhaps the wettest of the three. And as Joe pointed out, there's
And
another
ain't
one
saying
coming
much.
through, and I ain't saying much. And there's another one coming through Wednesday night, Thursday, and there's another one coming through on Saturday, early Saturday. None of these systems, well, you might say they're for the most part moisture starved, and so you're not going to see very much precipitation. And for those of you who have gardens or whatever, you may have to deal with watering your garden or watering your plants by mid or late week because if you don't, it's going to get pretty bone dry out there.
Oh wait, I got the anomalies map, the anomaly map for temperatures. And you see where the big anomalies are. We're below normal in the east. It takes a little bit, a day or two for it to really get in here. But it's in the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley and parts of, then you go further south into Arkansas and Kansas, where you're looking at anomalies of 12 to 16 degrees below average. That's a big number. Okay, that is a big number for late August. This is a very impressive troughing that we're seeing in the east. And then as we go through the rest of the week and into the weekend, it moderates a little bit. And then at least the European implies that there's more below normal temperatures coming again for later next week. And you can see that the GFS is kind of there, not maybe not as robust, but still, it's mostly near or below normal right through September 5th. And if we check the European anomalies, probably going to be a little bit different, but they still are going to have the same idea. Just roll it back on the European. And you can see here going to starting on Monday afternoon and Tuesday, the big anomalies again, mostly to the west, but it's it's covering areas from the Rockies all the way to the East Coast. I mean, it's just this. I'm very impressed with this.
And I'm thinking on Thursday morning, right around sunrise, we'll be seeing temperatures in parts of the lower Hudson Valley. And also, Joe, I think parts of eastern Long Island. We've talked about this in the past, where there are parts of eastern Long Island that radiate like you've never seen. That
Yeah.
they even more so there as opposed to the inland, northern and western rural localities. But I think Thursday morning will be about as cold as we've seen in a long, long time, with some temperatures getting down as low as the mid 40s, maybe even, perhaps even out in eastern Long Island, lower 40s. I think we're looking at some really chilly temperatures coming up this week.
And by the way, this pattern is probably going to have a shelf life of about 2 weeks. So don't be surprised if we wind up warming up around mid-month, perhaps. I just don't think we're going to get into. I don't believe we're going to get into a situation where we're going to see temperatures warming up to any kind of extreme. I don't want to say that 90-degree highs are done, but if we hold on to this pattern, say through say September 10th, the odds of going to 90 degrees after September 10th really drop off precipitously.
It gets more and more difficult as we move through. I think in September we get one, maybe two shots at temperatures on average at or above 90, but they get few and far. And it wasn't that was about 5 6 years ago. We had a 90 degree or low 90 temperature in early October.
Yeah,
It can happen, but it doesn't happen too often.
you got to have a mammoth ridge building in the east for that to happen. And certainly through the first 10 days of September, that's not going to happen. So we feel confident of that. I just thought I'd put up just looking at some low temperatures. This is Tuesday morning in places like Lexington, Kentucky, 51, 52 in Indianapolis. I'm sorry, 50 in Indianapolis. I'm trying to figure out in Cincinnati, 52. I'm sorry. And then we go up a little bit further north, and you're looking at upper 40s in parts of Illinois and Indiana. So, I mean, this is a really impressive shot. And in the Northeast, upstate New York, we're looking at 40s to low 50s. This is Tuesday morning. I think Thursday morning is probably going to be the chilliest morning where you're going to see a lot of 40s in areas inland. Particularly north of Route 84 and south of Route 84, you're going to see probably a lot of temperatures in the low and mid 50s. And again, if there's no wind, if we get into a setup where there's clear skies and light winds, which that might be the one reason why we don't wind up seeing uh, temperatures falling off the wall if there's any kind of a breeze. But again, for late August, I can remember as a kid and in my 20s and 30s where usually we had these types of air masses that came down at the end of the month and around Labor Day to really just sort of break the back of summer, the hot weather of the summer, and I certainly think this qualifies in doing that. So if you like it cool and you like to live with your air conditioning shut off, you're going to get your wish.
Well, actually, today in 1953 was a Monday, the 24th of August in 1953, and today started the first of a record 12, count them, 12-day heat wave. Temperatures at or above 90 for 12 consecutive days starting today in 1953, and that followed a 7-day heat wave that occurred also in 1953 in the middle part of July. That must have been one hot summer, 1953. By the way, Joe, happy anniversary. This is the 30th anniversary of something that you and I were involved with. Can you think about what it is?
So you're saying on August 24th, 1995?
Right.
What happened on August 24th, 1995?
It was a Thursday.
The Thursday. I have
Yeah.
no, you've got me. What happened?
Well, I came in that day to fill in at News 12 Long Island for the Roberto Torrado, and I said to myself, this is going to be an easy day. It was kind of like a setup that we had on Friday. Blue skies, brilliant sunshine, low humidity right on through Friday and into the upcoming weekend in 1995. And I said, no problem. It's going to fly through here. And then all of a sudden, sometime around 6 o'clock or so, word got out that some of the worst brush fires in 60 years were ravaging parts of the Hamptons in Suffolk County. And all of a sudden, the decision was, well, we're going to go live. We're going to stay on the air and go live with this story. Our news director at the time was Pat Dolan, and Pat, who could fly a helicopter, went up in News 12, Chopper 12, and he's flying around into the late night hours, keeping abreast and keeping track. And I'm there, standing there doing the weather, telling everybody about the wind direction and the humidity and how dry it's been and whatever like that. And now we're getting past 11 o'clock and 12 and 1 and 2 a.m., and we're still doing live coverage. Until finally, since I had to do, I was also doing at the same time 1010 Winds, WINS in New York. Fortunately, I had the studio set up at my house in Levittown, Long Island, and I needed some sleep. I couldn't, I couldn't possibly do morning drive without at least a little bit of sleep. So I begged at 2:30 in the morning. They finally let me go, so I can get an hour or so of sleep. And you came in, Joe, right after that, and you were on right on through the morning and into the afternoon covering this story as well.
I don't,
And
I, I don't remember that as 1995. I thought that was 1993.
no, what I have here is from, and I know it was 95 because not too long after that, I left the weather service, the private weather service or company that I was working for, and I started working at News 12 Westchester in October of that year.
Right.
So,
Oh, well, maybe there were two. Maybe that I don't remember this wildfire. The big Suffolk County wildfires, I think, was a couple of years before, because I have a cable ace for that somewhere. Um, but okay, well, your memory is a lot better than mine. That's for sure.
uh, well, we never got, we submitted News 12 submitted for a possible Emmy nomination and didn't get and got butkus. And we later found out that the people who were doing the judging for 1996 Emmys,
Was
when they saw
L.A.
when they saw the reports that we did from Suffolk County on the brush fire, they must have laughed because they had their own share of extreme wildfires in
Yeah, I think
California.
I think that was the year L.A. judged the New York Emmys. Yeah, so and
And
they certainly know about wildfires, don't they?
they sure do.
All right. Let's see. I think I have the Briller Jeopardy from last week somewhere. I gotta find it. Oh, here we go. So we'll
And
do
Harold
that.
Olson,
Oh,
thank you for Harold Olson. I said, 4 or 5 years ago, I think we hit low 90s in October, and Harold Olson posting on the chat board, October 2nd, 2019, New York City hit 93 degrees in early October.
nice. I want to just one last thing was I'm sorry, Tropical Storm Fernand, which is at 31.8, 59.8, moving already north-northeast at 13. Top winds are 45 miles per hour. Seems to be strengthening a little bit, and you can see it's going out into the Atlantic no man's land. And another name has been crossed off on the Hurricane Center's name list.
Have you noticed that of the five named storms we've had so far, four of them have been like, no
Yeah,
big deal, no problem. The only one that really has done anything, even though the never made landfall, but it did get to a very potent Cap 5 and did churn up the waters along the Atlantic seaboard, was the one that we just had,
all right.
Aaron.
Okay, tonight's Briller Jeopardy. Thank you, the chairman, Scott Briller, for sending this. We're still doing retired hurricanes names, and we're going to start with the letter M. M as in Mary. So have at it, Joe. There are 7 M's that have been retired. 7
Okay.
M's. And Frank R. kicks it off with Hurricane Mitch, Bobby Livingsworth with Michael, David Daniel with Maria, Jason Schaefer with Matthew. Those 4 are on, so 4 down, 4 to go. Miss
How about
Fowlerite
the one we had? How about the one we had just last year, Burl? Oh, excuse me, Milton.
Milton, and Miss Fowlerite adds Michael. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 3 left here. Frank R. adds Michelle. Alfred Phillips, we're doing the letter M. Okay. Marilyn, from William Uber, and from somebody else had Marilyn. No, I'm sorry, Michelle. So Frank R.'s got Michelle. William Uber's got Marilyn, and so does Jason Schaefer. So let's see. Mitch, Milton, Michelle, Michael, Marilyn, Maria, and Matthew, David Daniel, Matthew. So there's the 7. Now, let's go to the letter N, Joe. N is in Nancy. Okay. There are only 2 N's that have been retired. 2 letter N's.
I don't know, the one that immediately comes to mind with N to me is one we had, I think, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Nate.
Nate, Jason Schaefer got Nate too, and Anthony gets Noel. Noel, Noel. Right.
Noel.
So those are the two. Now let's go to the letter O. O is in Otis, which is not a retired name. So only two in with the letter O. And Bobby Livingsworth gets it again, and a few others. Christinapedia, Anthony, all with Opal. That is correct. Ophelia and Oscar are not on the list. They are not. It is not one of the two. And William Uber gets the other one, Joe. Otto. Otto.
Otto.
Otto. Otto. So there you have it. Boy, the chat board's really good with these retired names. They're just hopefully nobody's cheating. Um, but there you have it. We are through the letter O. So there. Uh, anything else going on before we say goodnight?
No, there's nothing really.
Yeah. We're kind of in this period, folks, where things are going to be pretty easy this week. So, the shows may wind up being shorter than they usually are because there's not a whole lot happening. But you know what? It's the end of August. The summer's winding down. Labor Day weekend's coming up. So it's a good time for everybody to kind of kick back a little bit. Thanks for hitting the tip jar, Scott Briller. Tomorrow we're going to finish off the name list. So we'll be one more day with retired hurricane names. And I guess we can wrap it up.
I guess so. We'll be here tomorrow night, 7:35, and I'm happy to also to report that our friend on the chat board, Dennis Cassia, is doing very well after having his surgical procedure on Wednesday of this past week, and seems to be in good spirits. I chatted with him on Friday, and uh, sounds great.
Okay. All right, folks. Have a great night. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye bye.
Good night.